Okay, we're going to get started. Welcome to our April sales meeting. We made it to spring market, and I can see things in New England are heating up and getting ready to heat up in the Florida market, which typically our spring market in Florida is not for a couple more months. But wanted to, I'm going to do the meeting backwards today, only because I noticed that sometimes agents come onto our sales meeting and want to see all the fun stats at the beginning, and then they kind of log off after the fun stats. So we're going to go a little bit backwards because we have some important stuff that I want to cover to start with. And what I want to cover today, many of you guys have seen this already, because this was a presentation that we did about 1 year ago. I made some changes to the presentation, but I think it's an important message for everybody to hear today because of the things that are happening around the National Association of Realtors proposed settlement. And what that creates for many real estate agents is a massive amount of uncertainty. And what I'm witnessing from our 800 real estate agents is there are many real estate agents who are absolutely thriving in the uncertainty of it all. And there are others that are truly nosediving, like fear is consuming them. And so I want to spend some time today just talking about uncertainty. I've said it before, I will say it again. The universe is picking the winners for the real estate market right now. And where you are 1 year from now will have everything to do with how you manage the uncertainty in your own mind in the coming weeks and months. For some real estate agents, they are looking at this as opportunity, that it creates a little more clarity for buyers and sellers in that everything is spelled out in the agreements. And we have many real estate agents who are simply just not worried about any of it. They're understanding the forms, already started using the forms. And for those agents, they are going to thrive through the uncertainty that we're all experiencing. On the other hand, we also have agents that are just consumed by the fear of it. If you believe that the changes, should they take place, which some of the changes are already starting to take place, if you believe that this is just a matter of talking to our buyers and sellers a little bit differently, explaining things a little bit differently, and some extra paperwork, if you look at it that it's really not a big deal, it isn't. If you look at it that everything is changing, it's going to be so much harder, people aren't going to want to pay us, if that's how you are interpreting the changes in the marketplace, then that is true as well. Either side, both sides are true. So knowing that, why wouldn't you embrace the uncertainty and say, you know what, it's something we can't change, so I'm going to make the best of it. I'm going to make lemonade out of lemons. So we're going to talk about uncertainty for about 15 minutes, and then we'll move on to the regular part of the sales meeting. So uncertainty is what goes on in your head, your heart, and your gut as you strive to create an extraordinary life and business. First, it's important to understand who and what is dictating your next move. So for some real estate agents, you're truly thinking about everything that's happened over the last 30 days in the proposed settlement. For many of you, you're just looking at it from a very logical standpoint. Okay, I have to get some different paperwork signed. You're reviewing your contracts. Many of you have already started using the contracts. But sometimes there's fear too. And you have to really be cognizant of what is helping you decide your next move in the business. Is it fear that is dictating your next move? Or is it your logic, your thoughts and feelings? So I want to remind everybody that for all of us, all human beings, genius is born out of uncertainty. So for every single person listening today, all of us have had challenges in life where struggles have happened, obstacles have happened, and things simply don't go our way. And many of you guys have heard about the silver lining, that when you look back on those challenges many years later, you say to yourself, wow, I'm super thankful that that happened to me, because this and this and this would not have happened if I hadn't gone through that. So this is an exciting time for our business, because this is the silver lining. Greatness is being born right now. Your genius is being born right now. So, ambiguity. Let's talk about ambiguity. In the beginning and during changes, your success is tied to your tolerance for ambiguity. Now, I have good news for you. Since you're on this call today, you're probably a pretty good real estate agent already. What's interesting about the real estate industry and the real estate business is that in order to get to where you are today, you already have to have a tolerance for ambiguity. That is the job that real estate is. It is a great deal of ambiguity. It is writing 10 offers and still not getting one accepted. It is putting a transaction under agreement and then having a client say, I changed my mind. Our business is ambiguity. Well, that's all this is that we're going through right now. But your success in real estate, your success as we go through these challenges or changes with the NAR proposed ruling, all of this, your success at the end of the road, a year from now, 3 years from now, your success comes down to your ability to tolerate and thrive in ambiguity. Now, living in ambiguity. Ambiguity causes anxiety, fear, suffering, and pain. By the way, that's if you let it. For many people who spend a great deal of life in ambiguity, you get so used to it that you kind of even enjoy it. And you realize as you're going through difficulty that you're about to grow into something better. Now, people don't like pain. Rather than lean into it, many people do everything possible to try to get out of ambiguity because it's uncomfortable. So in general, in real estate, we already have these pain points. So even on a good spring market, even in the best of times, as real estate agents, we were already living in ambiguity. Where's the next deal coming from? How do I increase lead flow? Should I call that expired or a FSBO? So how do you already handle the ambiguity and the changes and the uncomfortableness of the ambiguity? The biggest decisions you will make will require action in the face of ambiguity. So just a little bit about the science behind this. The amygdala is the part of our brain that experiences fear. We are hardwired to fear. The amygdala triggers a cascade of physiological and psychological impulses that induce hyperalertness, fear, anxiety. We are wired this way for thousands and thousands of years because that's how we protected ourselves. And when we were cavemen, for example, the reason we're here today is because we have that fight or flight that is part of us. So it is natural, but the good news is there's things we can do to best control it. Uncertainty leads to fear. And sometimes that fear exacerbates itself because then we start judging ourselves based on the fear. What are people going to think of me? Am I good enough? Can I actually get through this? So there are two sides to fear, and I can see it already, it's clear as day in talking to real estate agents. In fact, each day I'm having many conversations about the NAR proposed ruling, and I can tell within 5 minutes if how an agent reacts to change or ambiguity. And there's one of two ways. One is the fog, that people are like almost paralyzed because they're not sure what to do. And then there's another group that are agents that say, this is fueling me up. Like, I'm so excited. I'm going to go conquer this. I'm going to go figure it out. And I'm going to excel in the face of what is happening in the marketplace. So there's fog or there's fuel. Which one are you going to embrace? So, how do we make our journey more enjoyable so that we can make great decisions while wading through uncertain times? How do we turn the fog into fuel? So we're going to go through 5 different things that we can do to kind of get through uncertain times. And I don't want to see everybody just kind of get through the uncertainty of what's happening in our industry and in the market. I want to see you guys thrive. And I'm excited to already see many of you are already thriving. It's like a little blip in the radar. Okay, I got to do things a little different, but I'll keep moving on. So we're going to talk about the 5 different things that you guys can do to make sure that 1 year from now, when we look back and we're doing our April 2025 meeting, that you say to yourself, like, that was the best thing that ever happened in the industry for me in the last 5 years. By the way, I want to remind you guys, all of us were practicing during the pandemic. And in the beginning months of the pandemic, it kind of felt like it did now. Like, there was a great deal of uncertainty when the states started shutting down. And we're like, holy cow, like, how am I going to show real estate? And then slowly over time, it became one of the busiest years ever for our industry. So at the beginning, was it super uncomfortable? Was there ambiguity? Did we have to change the way we did things? All of that happened in a very tight amount of time. It's all happening again now. It's just under a different context. So let's talk about the 5 things we can do to best navigate ambiguity in our businesses. Number 1, uncertainty anchors. So one of the things that can help get you through ambiguity and uncertainty and fear is a daily ritual. Daily rituals keep you focused on stuff that does not get your brain going in a bad direction. Reading, meditation, walking and running, working out, calling people, working on your database. It's super important during these times to standardize a part of your day, your week, your month, and your year. Many of you guys know that for the last 15 years, I read for 1 hour a day. It has become, when I first started that, it was out of necessity. So it was at a difficult time in my business and life, and I read every day to get my brain unfocused off the stuff that was uncomfortable. And it has stuck. So for the last 15 years, for 1 hour a day, I have my head buried in a book, because for me, that is my meditation each day. Super important that as we go through a transitioning time in our business, that you guys find what is the thing that you're going to do. What is it that you're going to standardize in your day that you're going to do no matter what? It does not matter what is happening in the world, you're going to lean back into it. So why do these uncertainties? So I call them uncertainty anchors. They're things that, like, okay, even though the world seems like chaos all around me, I'm going to go back to this thing that makes me feel good. The simple physical act of gauging in a ritual and routine is your certainty anchor. It's like bringing you back to normalcy each day at those times when you feel like there's chaos and not normalcy surrounding you. Many of you have already gone through the Algorand program. I only bring it up here because it's a phenomenal uncertainty anchor. The whole Algorand program is like a place to keep you focused specifically for your real estate business. You can find it on our website. If you need a new copy of it, like the actual workbook, you can email in to happyagent@laerrealty.com and we'll send you one. But the beautiful thing about Algorand, it can be an uncertainty anchor for you. It keeps you focused where you need to be so that you're not focusing on negativity or thoughts about what if this happens, things like that. Okay, number 2 for navigating through ambiguity is to build a hive. All bees in a hive serve a purpose. It is the survival of the colony. I want you to think about the people that you surround yourself with. Do the people around you feed into your fear? In order to navigate out of ambiguity or to thrive within ambiguity, you have to be surrounded with people who do not feed into fear. In other words, when you feel down or scared about something, you don't want to be surrounded by people that feed into it and say, oh yeah, you should be nervous. Yeah, the market's going to change. Nobody's going to want buyer agents. You have to reintroduce those people to a different sphere, not your sphere. Surround yourself with people who have a common openness to learn, people who are willing to go out and think different, who are willing to try something new and make mistakes, and people who offer a high degree of feedback for you. Think about Winnie the Pooh. Most of you guys know the Winnie the Pooh story, but what's super interesting about Winnie the Pooh is Tigger and Eeyore, because think about in your life in general, when somebody is a Tigger, the person that's always up, always in a good place emotionally, like super excited, so happy to see you. Think about when that person calls your cell phone. Of course, you answer it because you want to be on that high with that person. But we also all have that person in our lives that is the Eeyore, the person that's like, every time I talk to this person, they bring me down. In fact, you don't take the phone call because you know you're not going to be in a good place at the end of the call. Super important during times of ambiguity that you surround yourself with people who feed your positive energy and not feeding the negative voices in your own head. I also want to remind you that as you go through this time of ambiguity, as you go out and conquer what is the changes in our industry and our market, I want to remind you that you are absolutely going to run into naysayers almost every day at this point. There are absolutely agents who are in a very bad place emotionally in their own heads about what is happening in the market. I will also tell you that your bravery going out and conquering the new forms, the new changes, your bravery scares people. And sometimes your bravery scares people so much that it ignites their negativity. So just keep in mind, just because somebody can seem like they have all the answers and they have all the reasons why this is really bad for the industry, it means absolutely nothing. Sometimes that is just triggered because of your bravery and your willingness to go out and conquer the changes that are happening. Next, super important as you navigate ambiguity is to start training your brain. Recognize the warning signs of fear. So what are some of the things that could be a warning sign? For example, once you start doing your daily routine, a daily routine is so important because it brings normalcy in times of chaos. If you notice yourself like just quitting the routine, you're starting to spiral down to a bad place. If you start noticing negative self-talk, if you start noticing yourself social media stalking what everybody else thinks about what is happening in the market, It does not matter what any other real estate agent in the market thinks about what is happening. Does not matter. Your time is better spent learning how to navigate the changes, which we'll talk about in a minute. Maybe a warning sign of fear for you is that you can't eat or you can't concentrate. Super important to understand for you, what are the warning signs that you're about to head into a bad place? And then you're going to create little systems to get yourself out of those spaces. So, what are some of the ways that you can train yourself when you notice that you're heading into a really bad place, or you notice that, like, hey, I just broke my routine that I've been doing every day for 3 weeks. I just broke it. I just noticed that I spent an hour online watching people rant about what is happening in the real estate market. You have to figure out a routine for pulling yourself out of it. One of the ways to do that is to keep an inventory of all the times that you proved that you were able to do something. So in all of us, we always have that list of things that we've done in our life that we thought were impossible. As well, I think it's additionally a great idea to go out and do those things. What are the things that you tell yourself you can't do? Whether it's like learning an instrument or skydiving or taking on a new language. Go out in the world and prove yourself wrong. I will always say to you as well, you've already done all this. Like all of you, I know for a fact, have gone through super hardships and you came out better on the other side of it. But start engaging in yourself and prove yourself wrong as often as you can. When you say, I've always been bad. Ever since I was little, I knew I could never learn a new language. Well, prove yourself wrong. Go out and learn the new language. Go prove that you can take on an instrument. Also, really start noticing the conversations that you are having with you. The one person you talk to all day, every day in your own head is you. Super important to start noticing the conversations you're having with yourself, and then simply start having a different conversation. Ask yourself, why do I say that to myself? Why do I believe that? And start digging in and start changing the conversation that you are having with you. Wonderful book to help you through that process is What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. Create a new energy vortex. So this is super interesting. We've talked about this multiple times before, but we are all energy. Every human being is energy, and we're surrounded by energy. That energy we surround ourselves with is other human beings, nature, light, the words we use are energy. So in order to navigate through ambiguity, we have to remain in a very uplifting, positive energy vortex. One of the ways you can lift yourself out of a negative vortex, a negative energy, is to just logically, even if you're in a bad place, just logically sit down and write on a piece of paper, what are all the things I would have to believe in order to be in a better place with my energy? So maybe you're in a negative space and you say, for me to believe that, for me to lift myself out and to be in a really good place, these are the 10 things I would have to believe. And then one at a time, start saying, could I believe that? Is there a way that I could believe that instead of what I was believing before? Because you can lift yourself out just simply by changing the thoughts you have in your head. Visualize, what does your future look like? Who are you becoming? By the way, if you find yourself stressed during times of ambiguity, oftentimes you're visualizing something is just not super positive. So go out and start building what your future looks like. And then you'll start attracting it. Meditate. Learn to make space for new thoughts to come in by eliminating all of your other thoughts. Even if you can get to 20 seconds a day to start with, just 20 seconds a day that you close your eyes and sit and try not to think. Because as you let go of thoughts, you create space for new thoughts to come in. Success. Success is intention and attention. So having good intent, and paying attention to your thoughts. One of the fastest, easiest ways to get yourself into a positive energy vortex is to super focus on gratitude. I have thought just in the last 30 days of all the reasons why we should be thankful for what is happening out in the marketplace, the proposed settlement. So you start by just focusing on the little things. Why is it better? Well, now my buyers will have clarity. They'll have contracts that they can work with. It's good for everybody that they have contracts. Not only is it better for buyers, it's better for sellers. Anything in life that creates clarity, in my opinion, is a good thing, and we should be super excited about that and be super thankful. I'm super thankful that the market is going to be, I think that we're going to see an attrition of real estate agents. I am super thankful for that, that the really good agents are going to thrive through these times of ambiguity, and ones who can't or don't want to or don't want to put the work in, I think they're going to get out. I think I'm super thankful for that. There's so many things to be super thankful for. And gratitude, being thankful, is the fastest thing to change your energy and move into a positive vibration. Number 4, clarity is kindness. So one of the things to think about is that ambiguity is unclearness. And so if you want to attract clearness in your life, clarity, then you have to be clear in all things. So look around you and start figuring out where you can be a warrior that gets rid of unclarity in your own life. And it doesn't just have to be real estate. So clarity can be organizing your desk, making your bed, keeping your car clean. As you start clearing the environment around you, creating clarity in all things around you, you're going to start creating clarity in your own mind. And once you start having clarity in your own mind, you're going to start creating clarity all around you. By the way, this is why buyers and sellers hire us to begin with. It's because they seek clarity in a real estate transaction. It is the biggest purchase or sale of most consumers' lives. And so they hire us, they want us because we create clarity for them. So clarity is kindness in your own life. Start with the little things all around you, start creating the clarity, and that clarity is going to translate into your business. It's going to show up in your contracts, your listing presentations, your buyer presentations. Everywhere you go, you will be creating clarity. Unclutteredness, create harmony in your thoughts, actions, and intentions. Fear thrives in confusion and ambiguity. So the last part, number 5, is indemnify risk. Risk is part of all important things you will do in life. So everything you do, the big challenges that you step forward on, it all has to do with risk. The bigger the risk you take, the more reward you're going to get. So in ambiguity, you want to figure out how you could best embrace risk. The easiest way to embrace risk or challenge or obstacle is to indemnify it, insure yourself, so that in the end, no matter what, you come out on top. So how can we ensure risk as we go through these times of ambiguity? So let's talk about all the ways that we can do it specifically as it applies to the NAR settlement. Number one, take classes about the NAR settlement at your board of realtors. Every single board has them now readily available. You can watch them constantly. And I guarantee you, if you sit through a 1 hour class through your local board about the NAR settlement, you are going to feel so much better at the end of it because it creates clarity. Read the listing contract and the buyer agency contract thoroughly. I have had many, and by the way, I want to encourage anybody, if you have questions, please send them to happyagent@laerrealty.com. But I know that many agents who have sent questions in to Happy Agent at Laer Realty specifically about the NAR settlement have not read the contracts. Because if you read the contracts, you'd feel good about it. Read the listing contracts, read the buyer contracts. Then if you have questions, once you've read the contracts and you've digested it, then get your questions answered so you feel really comfortable if your customer has questions on it. Go make your listing presentations. And by the way, you don't have to start from scratch. We've got your listing presentations, your buyer presentations. We've created buyer and seller scripts for you. It's all created, it's all done, it's all at laeragentservices.com. They're 100% customizable, but go make your listing presentation. Articulate your value and articulate clarity for your sellers. Articulate clarity for your buyers. Read the buyer and seller scripts. Maybe you pick up something, a different way to word something, a different way to articulate. Utilize the forms and contracts now. Don't wait. I get it. It's proposed. Maybe something will change. Maybe it won't happen altogether. But why not start practicing clarity in your business now? Create your own best practices starting now. And the best way to do that is through clarity using the contracts. Once you start playing with the scripts, practice those scripts on video. And by the way, why not put them on Facebook or Instagram so that you start sharing with the people who follow you all the reasons why they should hire you. Host classes for buyers and sellers about demystifying the NAR settlement. Become an ABR. It's free. Why not dig into that? Build a toolbox of materials to share with clients. By the way, we've already started building it for you. It's at Laer Agent Services under NAR Settlement Resources. Go build your toolbox. You see a great article that explains it, cut it out, put it into your package. And then most importantly, practice gratitude for all of these changes. Because I promise you, just like at the beginning of the pandemic, many of us felt fear because we're like, holy cow, how is anybody going to buy a house when we're going through a pandemic? And it was our best year in 10 years. So embrace the change, embrace the ambiguity. By the way, I was talking to some of our Florida agents. I think every agent should be using, in Massachusetts, we have a Form 310, and it's an addendum that you write when you put in an offer, and it's basically says it's as a buyer agent, you're asking that the seller agree to compensate the buyer agent. I think I'm going to make one of these that we can use in other states as well. I was showing it to some of our Florida agents when I was out there last week, and right now there's nothing like it yet in Florida. However, you guys, all these forms are going to change. I've spoken to each and every board, and each and every board, the Mass Association of Realtors, the Florida Association, the New Hampshire Association, everybody is working on forms right now. So everything is still going to change, but get out there, read it, start using the stuff to create clarity in your business. So it's for you guys to decide how you're going to come out at the end of this in 6 months or a year or 5 years. Are you going to let the uncertainty and the ambiguity of what's happening dull your brilliance? I certainly hope not. But in the end, it is ultimately your choice on how you navigate these changes. If if uncertainty is something that is a challenge in your business or life, a wonderful book that I've read is called Uncertainty, Turning Fear and Doubt into Fuel for Brilliance. And it's by Jonathan Fields. And I think that if you're challenged in times of fear and ambiguity, this book will help you look at it all very differently as an opportunity to take your business to entirely new heights. So with that, now I'm going to start just going through the stats from our meeting. I'm glad everybody stuck around because sometimes we put that stuff at the end and it gets missed. But this month it was a really important message. And I knew it was important because I get to talk to you guys each and every day. I know that some of you feel fear, but all I can tell you is the world is your oyster. Great things are about to happen in the marketplace. So let me pull up our sales meeting. All right, so as usual, welcome to our April 2024 sales meeting. As always, knowledge is not power, execution is power. If you want to go revisit the presentation we just did, all of this will get uploaded to our YouTube station after our program today. Want to welcome our newest agents. Welcome to Karen, Joanne, Sean, Cecilia, Christopher, Vic, Ashley, and Chantal. Next, we want to talk about our transactions for March 2024. In a second, we'll just go through and see where we stand year over year with all of our numbers. So we did, for the month of March, 177 closings plus 29 rentals for a total sales volume of 86 million. So congratulations on a great March. This is how it breaks down. This is based on like where the agent is located. So our agents that are located in Massachusetts offices did 139 sales at 70 million. Our New Hampshire based agents, 13 sales at 7.7 million. And then Florida, 25 at 9.3 million. Let's take a look at our top agents and teams by area. Let's see, just going to move this so I can read it better. Top 5 for teams by volume from Massachusetts. We have Silver Key Homes, number 1, O'Connell & Co., number 2, Hometown Team Athol, for the North Star Group, and number 5, Vision Realty Group. We then have our top 5 individuals by volume. Congratulations to Michael Durkin, Janet Cram, Paul Brulette, Robin Magenheim, and Matt Winterly. We then have our top 5 teams by units sold for Massachusetts. Silver Key Homes, O'Connell & Company, Hometown Team, Vision Realty Group, and the North Star Group. Top 5 individuals by unit. We have Janet Cram, Olivia Paris, Michael Durkin, Paul Brulette, and Corey Gracie. New Hampshire, we have our top 4 for New Hampshire. Number 1, Platinum Realty Group, followed by Fulford Group, Lisa Newman, and Luba. I think that's for individuals by units and by volume. And then we have our top 10 for Florida agents and teams by volume. Congratulations to Laura, Matt, Jim, Lindsay, Jessica, Christina, the Show Me Florida team, Stacy, the Morales team, and Elena. And then we have our top 10 Florida agents and teams by units. And we have Laura, Matt, Jim, Frank, Team Robello, Lindsay, Jessica, Christina, the Show Me Florida team, and Stacy. So congratulations on our top agents. As always, we put our overall top 25 company-wide by volume and company-wide by units. If you're on any of our lists, whether it's by state or on our top 25 overall, Our marketing team will send out an email today. They make some great social media pieces, and this is a great time to share with the people who already know, like, and trust you, how you're doing in the business. Let's take a look at where we stack up from last year. So basically, based on last year's numbers, our units are almost identical. So we've closed 529 units so far. This time last year, we had closed 520. Our volume is up a little bit. So our volume is up by 8%. And then I went through this last month, but NAR predicts 4.71 million existing home sales in 2024. So they are expecting an increase of business from last year. So a 13% increase in business year over year. We're at the very beginning of the year, so I think we'll start to see the effects of that in the next 60 or 90 days. Some company updates. First, wanted to let you guys know that we have new green listing and buyer presentations. You can find these at laeragentservices.com. Want to thank Craig and our sustainability committee who helped me make these great. So originally it was just going to be a listing presentation, but with the help of our sustainability team, we turned it into 2 presentations, and then together we went through everything, made several changes to both of them, and we have 2 pretty good products for agents that want to lean into sustainability as part of your core business. So we have a great why choose a high performance agent, and why your high performance home deserves a high performance listing agent. 2 great presentations. You can find these at laeragentservices.com under the marketing section. We also have under LAER Agent Services now, we created a place where we're just putting all the NAR settlement resources that we think will make your life easier. So this is just one little screenshot, but there's a whole page on there. Anytime we see a new article that we think could be helpful, we're posting the articles or white papers or videos, anything that we think, or links to where you can go get more information. We're going to keep adding to the NAR settlement toolbox. I went through this last month as well. We've also been building, if you're a newer agent, we've been building laerrealty.com/transaction blueprint. And here you'll find all kinds of great stuff for newer agents on that'll help you with procuring costs, state-by-state real estate laws. That we built a great guide on home inspections, things like that. There's also some great tutorial videos on there. Wanted to make sure everybody has seen that we did create some wonderful materials for you guys to be utilizing, especially in light of the NAR settlement. All of you should have buyer presentations of some sort. What's so cool, one of the biggest things that I think we should be thankful for with the changes happening is over the last 25 years of doing real estate, anytime an agent got a listing, it didn't matter whether it was a buyer's market or a seller's market. Agents are always so excited about getting a listing. Why? Because a listing has always been pretty much money in the bank. That's going to close because somebody signed a contract. That property is probably going to sell. I think one of the things we should be thankful for when we're practicing our gratitude daily is I think that's how it's going to be for buyer agreements too. That just like when we have the listing presentation, when we get those buyer contracts signed, it's like having a listing agreement signed. It's probably money in the bank. It means somebody has committed that they have selected you, and it will end up in a sale. So we've created some great buyer presentations. We have a Florida one and a New England one, only because things are done a little bit differently. But go check those out. You can find them under the marketing section at lairagentservices.com. You open them as a Canva template and they become yours. As I mentioned, go take the ABR, become an accredited buyer's rep. As a reminder, I also want to remind everybody that if you need help on getting any of your tools working correctly, maybe even you want some help with Canva, for example. If you go to lairrealty.com/briefings, you can get one-on-one support for whatever you need assistance with. Also want to remind you guys to check out our newsletter each month. This gets emailed to you once a month, and it just tells you everything happening within the company, but also some of the stuff that the committees are working on. We spend a great deal of time perfecting this to make sure our newsletter, and this is internal only, just our internal company newsletter, is really good stuff for you guys. And with that, I want to bring on Craig for a couple minutes to give us some updates on sustainability.
Thanks, Stacy. Yeah, and thanks so much for the new buyer deck and the listing deck, and to the LAER Sustainability Committee. That was a really great meeting that we had last month to review those. And you took that information and turned it into an even better deck. So it's great stuff. Part of this is, as you know, as I'm thinking about uncertainty, Stacy, right? Your topic for this, so it's kind of opened some things up for me. One of the things that buyers are uncertain about, our clients are uncertain about, and as you said, one of our jobs as listing and buyers agents is to remove that fog of uncertainty, give them clarity so they can make the best decisions that they can for their personal lives. So I'm just throwing in the chat right now one of the things that is out there in terms of uncertainty for buyers in the marketplace, right? And one of the things that we're thinking a lot about with that buyer's deck in particular. So uncertainty for buyers, certainly affordability, right? Interest rates. Those are high on the uncertainty list for buyers that we need to really help give them clarity to help make good decisions. But another piece of uncertainty that's becoming clearer and clearer in the marketplace is that home buyers are worried about climate risk. And we can take charge on that. We can provide good guidance on what this means to a changing marketplace without freaking them out, with giving them some clarity on how to think forward about a changing climate and investments that they're making in the housing market, and in particular property that they may be dealing with. So I'm going to just I'm going to share a different screen. This is a presentation I've done a couple of times recently, including just yesterday. There was an article in Inman, this was published in 2019, about a young reporter, a woman, I think her name was Sarah Miller, pretended she was a luxury home buyer in Miami. You know, Miami is on some level, you know, the place where we're seeing the clearest evidence of a changing climate on the real estate space. So she pretended she was a luxury home buyer, and she'd meet with the listing agents without a buyer's agent and ask them every time she met with them, you know, well, what do you think about climate risk for me and my husband if we move forward on this property? And it was it was published in Inman, republished in Inman. It was published in Popular originally. And some of the remarks that came out of the listing agents' mouths were scary from a risk mitigation perspective, right? Certainly, if I were their broker owner, I'd be worried about how they're answering some of these questions. You know, I think it's like 100 to 200 years out, you know, climate change, climate risk. Well, now you're not only hiring somebody with a real estate license, which is great, but they clearly have a PhD in climate science as well to make a statement like that. And we all know that you know, statements like this are the things that can get us in real estate jail and Stacy, increasing her E&O insurance. So we've got to be very, very careful with how we answer these questions, these concerns that buyers are having out there. We have now uploaded in the LAER Agent Services sustainability file what NAR thinks is the correct way to answer this kind of question, to keep ourselves out of climate risk, unlike the answers that those Miami agents had. So essentially, if a buyer came to me and said, I'm listing a property in the South End, which is the innovation district, which has now been given the term inundation district at this point. What do you think, Craig, about a changing climate and what that means to my real estate investment? So the first thing I'd say, whether I agreed with them about whether I had a personal belief in climate change or not, that's not the thing that we need to be dealing with. What we need to be saying is, thank you for your question. I certainly understand your worry about this. We have a set of resources that I can send to you if you give me your email address, in which the city of Boston's or the city of Miami's or the city of Austin, Texas's engineers have done a very rigorous study about climate risk and what the city is doing to protect neighborhoods, specific neighborhoods in some instances, and areas of the city that may be particularly susceptible to it. So I'd love to send those to you. Give me your email address, and you can do your own due diligence. That's a lot better way to answer the question than it's all fixed, which is a panic response listing agents will have when they're not expecting a question. So expect the question. We've got the script that's available for you. It's out there. We are going to do also the LAER Sustainability Committee meeting is meeting 2 weeks from today at noon. We're going to go over your decks one more time, Stacy, with the agents that show up for the Sustainability Committee meeting, so that they can really make those slides their own. Start to enter into a dialogue. Do like a little give and take on that. You're also reminding me that we have to be in Minneapolis, Minnesota, June 4th or 5th for the NAR Sustainability Summit, where you and I are going to be speaking. I think now, because I've been listening to your presentation, we have to address this from the uncertainty aspect of this. I like this approach quite a bit. So you've really changed my mind on what I'm thinking about that presentation already. So that's what I have for today, Stacy.
All right, awesome. Okay. Let's see, just a couple more things. First, I think we have Nicole and Cheryl on. Do you guys have any updates that you want to share?
I'll just chime in because Nicole's on her in her car. So we're coast to coast closings, and this is all the change, like Stacy was saying. And you have to embrace it. Change is good. And all the attorneys and paralegals in the office are here for you to help answer any questions, to clarify. I had a seller legal client call me over the weekend, wanted me to review a listing, his agent's contract with him, and this was not a LAER agent representing him. So I reminded him I could do a referral if it doesn't work out. However, that listing agent wanted the total commission to go to him, and I just clarified the importance to this seller of having the buyer agent also be compensated. He would get, a better range of buyers to look at his property. So, and he had heard about the NAR settlement because it's everywhere in the world right now. I think Stacy and everybody would agree. So you just need to, embrace the change, and it's always good. And we're here for you for questions, but, email it, call, text. All of us are here to help.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Cheryl.
Mhm.
And then let's just see, we have our upcoming training classes. Make sure, as you guys probably are aware, every Tuesday and Thursday from 12:30 to 1:30, our team is doing training classes. So on our marketing, Canva, social media, Real Scout, these are live Zoom classes. So what's cool about it is you can get questions answered. So go check out those classes so that you can really firm up, make some really nice pieces, understand how to utilize all the tools that you have. As always, make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube station at youtube.com/LAER training. The cool thing about subscribing to our LAER training is you'll never miss anything, because as soon as we do a live class, we upload it there. You'll get a little notification. As always, you can visit any LAER office, and always looking to grow our committees. So if you want to be involved and offer your voice to the tools, training, technology available at LAER, we would love to hear from you. And always, if you need anything at all, the best way to get our team is at Happy Agent. So Happy Agent is where we spend all day. Our staff is there all day answering questions 7 days a week. And with that, I want to say welcome spring, and I look forward to seeing everybody at our next meeting on May 8th. Thank you, everyone.